Welcome to PCE Final Frontier Podcast interview. Today, our guest is Mr. Sukhpreet. Is that how you want to go, or you go by Mr. Sukh?
Okay is better. Preet is okay.
Okay.
Sukhpreet is perfect.
So, all right. Mr. Sukhpreet just cleared his PCE exam recently with PCE Final Frontier. We're going to
Mhm.
find out what strategies work for him, what tips he has for us, and for our future students. So, welcome to the podcast interview, and thank you for doing this today.
Right.
Um, let's begin with some introduction about you. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you, first of all, for Shivangi for having me today. It's a great pleasure to be part of PC Final Frontier and to be on the other side of that hurdle. So my name is Sukhpreet Singh. I did my graduation back in 2016, so like 8 years back, right? I was working full time as a physiotherapist in a renowned hospital in my hometown, DMC Ludhiana. Um, Never had any plan of moving abroad, but I just randomly applied the visa. Visa got approved. My mom still did till date. She doesn't believe that I did all the stuff right, and it got approved. I packed my bags and made the move, right. Um, but I won't suggest anyone to do that. Have some planning before doing. And I really appreciate these days the new grads especially. They do have all the knowledge. They do all the credentialing and even go for the exam, sitting in the comfort of their home. Right. I was never that. I'm not even not today. Right. I was like just randomly doing stuff. Right. So yeah, and here I am. It was like 8 years of gap between your graduation. I mean, my friends call me crazy, even the relatives, back home. They say I was earning good, I was doing private visits, I was in a good hospital. Um, but back in the mind, I didn't want to, or I don't want to, after like 10, 15 years from now, think, oh, I should have made the move. I should have at least tried it or going abroad. Maybe the future holds something else for me. So I'm glad I did that. Um, but yeah, so that's my brief intro, I would say.
Oh, that's really good. I think I believe everybody should take that risk once in their life.
Yes,
Either
yes,
either you'll be successful or you will learn a lesson. So
for sure. And there should be, even after taking the step, there should not be any regrets coming with
yeah,
that
of
step.
course.
I mean, as a new immigrant, you have to start from scratch here, right? And there's no shame about it, right? I mean, you have taken a big step coming all the way, like 7 seas across the country, uh, with no one around. You have to manage all your course by yourself, right?
Mm.
Uh, and you are doing your best, right? You are working, you're trying to get other things sorted out in the life. um, so yeah, I mean, if you're taking that big step, don't regret it. Okay. Sometimes I feel like people, after some time, they start regretting it. Oh, why should I move, right? I should have not done this. So I guess that's the thing, should not be part of the step.
Yeah, of course, of course. So tell me about your PC preparation. Like, how when did you start? Like, how long before the exam did you start preparing? And when did you decide that I have to take the exam this month? Like,
um, I guess, Shivangi, the problem with the new grads or something, I would say, is like, you have to do it, but there's no outline for you, right? There's no pathway for you unless until you join someone, or like I joined the Final Frontier, right? So, um, talking about my PCE journey, I would say I was trying to study by myself before that,
uh,
um, but I didn't knew what to study and how much to study. Um, so I was talking with one of my friend who just cleared the exam, and she was like, "Oh, you need to get into some course for yourself, right? Otherwise, you won't be able to set a schedule for you, right? Because you don't know what things they're gonna ask you, right? Because the problem with I guess PC exam is you get a blueprint, but you don't have any actual mock exams apart from one they just recently launched, right? So you
mm-hmm.
don't know how much depth you need to go on in every topic, right? So I guess that was the basic problem with me. So I was looking for options. I mean, when I was like, oh, I need to find a course for me, I was looking for options. And my friend told me about you guys. the Final Frontier, and then I was just going through your website, and I was like, hmm, I read something on the website. It says it was written like, we will refund your money if you don't clear the exam,
Yeah.
somewhere on the website. I'm not sure if it's posted or not. But I was like, oh man, damn, these guys are more confident than me, right? So I was like, yeah, I should like. I don't. This is my stop. Like this is my end for my search. So I got enrolled myself last year, but still, I was not serious at all, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
No. Um, Randomly attending classes, juggling around, not doing stuff on the timetable as I need to do. Um, I guess I have always been a student where I used to study like from like three, four books, even for one topic. I used to do that all the time before this,
Okay.
and even today, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
But I guess with PCE exam, you need to be specific, right? You need to be specific how much you need to do, right? Because you can't spend the whole day just
Studying the
going
topic.
too
Yeah.
deep about a topic, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I have realized that after enrolling the course that it's an entry level exam, right? They don't want you to be specialist. They don't want you to be like
Mm-hmm.
in depth knowledge. But what they really want is you have that clinical judgment. So whatever conditions come, you should have a clinical judgment, or either you want to refer to this patient, or what are like relative or absolute contraindications, right? What you can do or what you cannot do, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so I guess that thing, enrolling in the PCE, that thing really helped me out. Um, because as I told you, like before joining the PC, either I was like doing
Yeah.
too much or doing really less,
Yeah.
right? Um, so yeah.
And what was your like a strategy, like thing that you did? I know you said you had this habit of reading from like four books and everything,
Right.
but what was kind of a habit, a strategy that you developed that helped you stay consistent while you're preparing? Like for example, like I had a book, I would write it down and go through those
Uh-huh.
books and stuff. Some people
Right.
have a habit of like drawing and like
Mhm.
what was your strategy? What was something that you
Mm,
used?
okay, let me tell you a funny story. Don't laugh, okay? You don't,
Okay,
okay?
I'll try not
You better
to.
don't. So one day I was just sitting with myself. I told you, like, even after enrolling, I was not serious at all, to be honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one day I'm sitting with myself, and I used to sit with myself more often. So I'm scrolling the Telegram group, you know. So I'm scrolling, and because I was not doing stuff, I was not on my timetable, but I was like, okay, let's just go through some previous chats, right? What these guys are up to, you know, in the group. So I started reading the previous chats, going through all the previous success stories from the previous students, right? And all the group discussion. And I started liking it. I said, okay, now I know, oh, they are talking some stuff about in the group, right? And it's some healthy discussion, and they're posting questions in the group. So I started scrolling back and back, and I did this for 30, 35 days, just scrolling. Isn't
Okay.
that crazy on me? So I went all up till until September 2020, when the group was formed, when the
Oh my
Telegram group
God.
was formed.
Oh
Right.
my God.
You guys don't need to be doing that, but I did that. So I'm just telling you, that's some
But
crazy stuff
okay,
I
but
did.
that works. If that is your
Yeah, I
strategy,
mean
that's
that
what worked for you, going
it really
back
helped
to.
me out, Shivangi, to be honest. So after those 30, 35 days, I was very clear what I need to do next. Okay. So, and what I don't need to, because you have gone through all those topics in those group. And I was very serious about those topics. I mean, I have like every day I come from my work, I go through those, like, for example, 1 month of those discussion in the Telegram, and then scroll down back and go through one more, because sometimes there's like so many students, they have like healthy discussions with each other, and so many strategies they post about every student. Like, so I just need like picking from, oh, this thing might work for me, this thing, oh, this is good. Oh, some mnemonics in the group, wow. Okay. So and I started writing down those questions and those mnemonics. So that really helped me out, to be honest. I
That's
mean, I
good.
know
Yeah.
since that I know every single student who did the PC Final Frontier. I know their names right now. But yeah, so I realized at the end of that 30, 35 days that I need to create a deadline for me. I can't be like just juggling around things, right? I need to set up timeline for me. And I guess most of the students would related to with me. Even from when we were like studying and doing our graduation, up until we have our date sheet, like final date sheet, or these are your exam dates, we were not serious, right? The whole year. Once you
Mm-hmm.
have your date sheet with you, you are like, oh, okay, so exams are approaching. We need to sit and study, right? We need to be
Yeah,
serious.
of course, of course.
So, so the next day, I had a call with Ravneet, and we had some good discussion. I told him, hey man, I'm working full time right now as a rehab assistant in the hospital, right? And I can't leave my job, right? And I aim to clear the exam as soon as possible. And Ravneet said, oh, wait a step, like take a step back, man. He said, like, "Oh, you have waited for like 6, 7 years, wait for another 6 months, let's say, right? Okay, Ravneet, this is like January or February. How about I put my name in for August exam? He said, yeah, perfectly, go for it. And if we don't think like we're not ready, we can always reschedule it, right? It's just $100 or
Yeah.
$150, and you're not wasting your time. So I say, okay, this looks like a plan. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I had a call and I created a deadline for me, and I booked like 6 or 7 months ahead um, the exam way ahead than the time. And then I started. I guess the cohort started in the March. I
Mm-hmm.
started attending the classes regularly, trying to catch up with the schedule. I was still full time working, and
Wow.
there were days where you were not able to catch up with things, right? There were days because you are owned by yourself and you have to do lots of stuff, right? You are tired, you're not
Yeah.
feeling well, right?
Yeah.
But then over the weekend, when you have like off days, you need to cover those things up, right? So I guess yeah, those things worked out with me, I guess.
Good. Oh, and I understand you. We all have our personal commitments, professional commitments, health, birthdays, like events come
Yeah,
up, and you cannot say no to everything. You have to be like, you have to be somewhere if you have to be. So it's kind
right.
of hard to juggle if you're working full time. That's like really
Mhm.
difficult. I don't know how you guys do it, but I have very, very big respect for you guys that work and
Mhm.
still study. Like I could not do it. Like it was very tough on me to go to work and study.
Right.
So I really appreciate that you guys were still able to do it. That's a big step. So,
Yeah,
you
I guess
should really
at the
be
end of the
proud of
exam, also
yourself.
like before the exam approaches, I do took like 3 to 4 weeks off from the work, and those guys were really appreciative with that. They were like really supportive uh, for all the stuff. But yeah, like in the beginning, you can't. I mean, sometimes you can, but in my case, I was not able to take that.
Yeah. No.
But one thing you once you book the exam, I guess you realize, oh, so now the money is on the stake, and secondly, your first attempt is on stake, right? So
Yeah.
you really need to be damn serious about those next few months, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what would you say was like the most effective technique that worked for you during your preparation? Like, like exams or cheat sheets or sticky notes or Sunday discussions. Like, what was the best one which you feel like, oh yeah, this helped me prepare more?
Yeah, I already told you like when I was going through that Telegram group, I used
Yeah.
to write down all the questions. So every time I come up with a question which I don't know or I don't know the answer, I
Uh-huh.
write it down. And you should be doing more often and trying to solve as many questions as you can. That's the best way to go through stuff. And I guess PC Final Frontier has really good mock exams and the Telegroup like Sunday discussions. So every time I came up across a new question where I was like, oh, I'm struggling with this, I write it down and then maybe just go through it a couple of times, right? And go back to your books or go back to your timetable where you have that condition and go through those stuff and make sure that, oh, you're not missing anything from this condition, right? So in the exam, if they ask you anything about that condition, you should be able to answer that, right?
Mhm.
So I guess that's really important for everyone who's like preparing for PCE. Try to solve as many questions as you can. And I didn't make much cheat sheets, to be honest. The only cheat sheets I made was like the mnemonics
Okay.
I had from the Telegram group. The second thing I had was I wrote down all the lab values, right? Which I used to study like 2 or 3 weeks before the exam because I'm not a good, what do you guess, say, learner? Not a good learner. Reminding
Reader.
those
Yeah.
reader or cramming those things, right? I'm not good with that. So I kept us for like 2 3 weeks before the exam, just going through those lab values and stuff. And I do like my room was full of pages hanging on the walls, sticking on the walls with all the scales, all different scales, the RLA, Glasgow Coma scale, Asia scale, whatnot. So I had those scales on the walls, and I used to go through every day, just reading those, go through, right? And I guess it worked out.
So it was a combination of, would you say, like a visual feedback with the scales that you had, the
Mhm.
discussions with your friends that were preparing on the Telegram
Right,
group,
right,
uh, then you like reading the lab book values and mnemonics and everything, kind of a
right,
combination. So
right.
yeah, whatever works for you. Everybody has different ways,
As I
but
have, yeah, I mean, everyone has a different strategy.
yeah.
I guess this one worked for me perfectly well. But yeah, sometimes I guess we had an exam 2 days ago or a day ago, yesterday. Um, and the tricky thing with the exam is you're not 100% sure. Even like when I was preparing, I was not 100% sure, like I'm ready, right? No one can say that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was just talking with few of the guys who just did the exam yesterday, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know what I did, right?" and and that's okay. The exam is meant to be like that, right?
Yep.
You have done your best. The exam is meant to be like that. And even when I came outside from I gave it in person in Vancouver, and when I came outside, I was not sure what I did.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I don't
sometimes
feel
the
anybody is confident that like when
yeah,
I
I mean, I
gave my
was
exam.
even it's not about the international pass out or international graduates. There were students from UBC in the center, and I was talking with them, and they were say like some of them were crying, right? They
I
came
know.
out of the exam and they were crying. I was like, oh man,
No, we
there's
we
something
all
serious shit about the
it's
exam
not
for sure, right?
it's
It's
just that
not
exam.
us, right? It's not about
Yeah.
us. It's yeah, it's sometimes those clinical questions they have. It's like where you look for options and you say, oh, all four options looks correct, right? Which
Mhm.
one is the best? You need to choose the
Yes.
best. So, and that's okay. So don't need to be hard on you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, you have done your best. Relax, sit back, and see what future holds for you.
There you go. Yeah. But no, that's good. That's what. And do not discuss with anyone after you finish your exam. Do not
No,
come
there's no
out and
point of
discuss.
discussion. There's no point
That's
of,
that's
I mean,
like the
you can,
biggest
but
tip I
more
learned.
you discuss, more stress you will have, right?
Yes,
So
you'll come up
there's
with
no,
more wrong, and we're like,
yeah, I
oh,
mean,
yeah, there is no point in
there's
discussing.
no
So
point of discussion. So
just
yeah, I was having a call with one of the girl, and she started speaking about, oh, I had this question and these were the questions they were asking. I say we can discuss it, but there's no point of discussion, right?
yeah.
I mean, whatever is done,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So there is no, do not discuss. That's like the biggest tip I have learned all these years. Is like
Hmm.
once it's done, it's done. Now think
It's
about the
done.
next step. Like you should be focusing on more ways to rest and relax now, right? You
Right,
just took
right.
a big intense exam.
Hmm.
What do you want to do to like calm yourself down, to relax and everything? What did you do after you gave your exam? Let's talk about that.
You mean what I did?
Yeah, like, what was your way to just kind of like rest and like, what did you do? You walked out of that exam room, it's all done. What did you do
Right.
that day?
I
Did you
mean,
come home
when
and
okay,
sleep? Or,
let's talk about the exam, how the feel of the exam is, right? When on the
yeah.
day of the exam, right? So I live in a town which is like 4 or 5 hours from my center.
Oh,
I
okay.
drove all the way to the Vancouver a day before,
Wow.
um, and it was a lovely drive. So I was able to relax a day before at least, right? And lovely mountain ride. I was listening to my music, didn't read anything. I didn't even open any topic, didn't carry any stuff with me, which I can go through before the exam. I went to my place. I had a shower, went outside for a walk. Um, and next day morning, I need to leave early. The exam, they told us to check in before 8 o'clock. The exam actually starts at 9. And Vancouver is like a busy downtown. You need to find a parking. So I left my place around 6:30. I was in Surrey. Um, and I found the parking spot. I entered the center, whatnot. And those guys checked us in around 8:15. Like 8:15, we were sitting right in front of the computer. And so the exam started at 9 and 9 to 1, like 4. So we were like sitting 5 hours all together. And I had this strategy as I thought, okay, while doing the mock exams, when I was doing, my strategy was like, okay, let's do 100 questions, 2 hours, and let's just take 5-10 minutes break, right? I would just go walk around,
Mhm.
maybe go to the washroom and come back. But man, Shivangi, to be honest, after 2 hours, I was like lagging behind. I was only at 84th or 85th question. I was like, ooh, this is not happening. I'm not taking the
Mhm.
break. And then you have that exam pressure, right?
Sure. Yes.
I was like, okay, I don't know if I would be able to finish it off on time, right?
Yeah.
But I guess the problem with the exam was like in the beginning, and even though sometimes the question is like too tricky, you spend too much time reading those questions, right?
Mhm.
Um, and in the beginning, they have like more minute questions lined up, like more deep questions where you need to go to the to the content and then see what the question is. But at the end, you have like more standalone questions, like last 20-30 questions were like just
Mhm.
standalone. So you can just read the line and mark your answer.
Yeah.
So I was able to finish my exam up, but I didn't took any break for 5 hours.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, and people told me like they do flag the questions up. That's good. Flag your questions. I mean, you don't want to spend time wasting on the questions going back. But what I would suggest, I do flag my questions, but I also selected an option, right? I mean,
Mhm.
people, the mistake sometimes that you do is like you flag the question. I
Mhm.
mean, you already have spent like 2-3 minutes on that question before, right? You
Yeah.
should at least be able to eliminate two or at least one or two options from that, right?
Mhm.
I mean, you might be confused with the two options, but you should
Yeah.
able to take
Oh,
out
yep,
few,
yep.
and you should be able to select because by the end of the timer, if you don't, what if you don't have time to come back, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. So you should be able to at least mark it down in case you're not able to come back. At least you submit something. You still got like
Mhm.
50-50 chances to having
Yep,
it
yep.
correct.
That's a smart way. That's a smart idea.
And then another funny thing I did was, okay, I was done with my exam like 15 minutes before. So I was like, okay, now let's go back to this question. And all the pass out students, and I will tell you the same. I don't know if the any students would be listening to this and would they follow or not. Don't change your answers if you are like 100 or 10% sure. Okay. Even if you have like 5% doubt, don't change it. Let it be. I did two questions. And the first thing I did after coming from the exam, I checked the answers, and both of them were wrong. I'm glad I didn't
Uh-huh.
go through all those 15 questions, the marked question, the flag question. So don't change your answers if you're like 100% damn sure that okay, this is the one I need to choose, right? And do read your questions twice before selecting an answer because you need to be make sure like what are they asking exactly in
Mm.
the question. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's good to know.
I mean, the
That do
last 5-10 question when I was like attempting last time, I was like, okay, finally this is being done. It's coming to an end,
it's coming to an
having
end.
that
There's
feeling.
like a light at the end of the tunnel. So
Right.
do not change your answer if you're 110% sure. That's good to know.
No, no. I
Okay.
mean, people used to tell me, everyone like in the group, they used to post it, right? Don't change your answers. Go with your first instinct, right? But sometimes, you flag those questions, you come back, oh, you see, no, no, this could be wrong. The other option looks more right, right? And I did that,
Yeah,
but
of course.
those two answers were wrong, definitely. I know that.
Okay. And then so after you were done,
Mhm.
did you drive back the same day? Kind of
I
just
drove back the
spend the
same day. I drove back the
Mhm.
same day, and talking about what I did like, after the exam. I guess we missed that part. You need to have a hobby even when you're studying for the exam or
Mhm.
after the exam. You need to have a hobby where you can, while doing that hobby or that work, you are able to forget everything else. I mean, there should be a hobby when you're doing that thing, nothing else exists for you. And for me, sports has been always that kind of uh, hobby for me, where I used to go when I like enter the field. I I don't remember anything else. I'm into the field. So, and I used to go to play sports when I'm like, once you are like keeps doing like all the readings and giving mock exam, and sometimes you're not doing well, right? I remember the first mock exam I gave, I scored only 128 or 125, I guess. And I was like, no, man, you're not making it. And then sometimes you doubt yourself, right? Or were you able to do it? I mean, the exam is in next 2 months, right? And you don't seem to be
Mhm.
prepared enough. So that was the time when once that saturation hits you, take a break from from your study and go out and do stuff what you like, right? Um, so yeah, and also I would say have a study partner. I mean, finding a study partner is like finding a good friend. You need to have one, okay? Not because you need to be like calling them every day for like couple of hours and discussing everything, but you need to have someone who's going through that same process, who's at your
Mhm.
level, who's able to understand what you are going through, and maybe able to answer your queries, right? Or maybe just discuss with you, right? Even if he or she is not able to answer it, you both can find out for answer.
I
But there
know.
should be a
Yeah.
person where you can call anytime, right? Reach out to them and say, hey, this is what I am feeling right now. Are you feeling the same? And the other person would probably say, yes, this is the same feeling I'm
Yeah.
having, right?
Yep.
So
We're in the
yeah, that
same
way you know,
boat,
like,
kind of.
okay, you're not all alone in this, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is the same. So that's okay. That's pretty normal. But you need to
And I
have,
don't know, that makes me feel better, right? Like, okay, I'm not the only one. We are in the
yeah,
same
I
boat,
mean, you're not
right?
the only one who's
Yeah.
going through that stuff, right? There's some
Yeah.
other people out there having the same
Hmm.
feeling, having the same anxiety, same doubt in themselves, right?
Hmm.
Would they able to do it in the exam? Do you want to postpone it, right? And whatnot. I mean, you should have someone to talk about, and you can't have this discussion with either your parents or even your other friends, right? They won't
Yeah.
be able to. I mean, they can empathize you, right? They can
Hmm.
say, hey, that's okay to feel like this. They can say whatever, but you won't be able to relate with them, right? So
Yeah.
having a same study partner who's going for that same exam is really important, I would say. And I was
Okay.
not calling my study buddy like every day. I'm not a kind of person who will be like on call with the people and talk with them like for a couple of hours. I can't do that, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm working, right? And then I have like 2, 3 hours in a day. I need to sit with myself, attend the classes. I can't. I mean, I have to make my own meals, right?
Yeah.
I don't have any time to call you and say, hey, well, what are you doing, right?
Let's
And
just get
stuff.
sense. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just so I was my and I was able to find a study partner. Smira was my study partner, and I was able to call her, and we used to discuss. And sometimes we were like, "Do you want to really do this? Do you think we should postpone it?" And she said, "Yes." But then I said, "No, no, no. I think we should just give it a
Should-
chance, you know."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we were able to calm each other's nerves at that time.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Okay. Now, how many exams did you take? Like, how many practice exams did you solve?
Um, I did all the three exams, the mock exams you guys had. I did
Mhm.
all the I guess you had like one on the CAPR practice exam, 50 questions. I did that. I did purchase the CAPR, the one they recently posted for $120, the whole practice exam. I did that. Uh, Actually, I did that at the last moment. I did it like 2 weeks ago because I really wanted to know where I stand, right? And I really scored well on that exam. So I was like, okay, now I feel more
You can
confident
do it.
after giving that.
Okay.
And I do give the mock exams in the Final Frontier like 3 times.
Oh, okay.
I did that. And even like once you do the exam, I would say anyone who's listening, go through all the rationals. Go through all the rationals, even if you are like you did select the right answer. Go through those rationals given in the Final Frontier mock exams, because that way you are able to correlate. Oh, I selected this option for this much reason, right? And what's the actual reasoning behind it? Is it correct,
If
or
it's
is it
like,
like some?
yeah, if it's
Yeah.
right, what you marked, thinking what is the answer, and if that
Uh-huh.
matches your rational, that just
Right.
boost your confidence. Like, okay, I think we're thinking the same way, kind of what they want us to think, right? Like,
Right. Right.
it
Yeah.
just
So you're
helps
like
you.
onto the right track, right?
Yes, that's all. You're
Yes.
like you're on the right track. Okay, I think we're thinking the same way, same
Yes.
muscle, same action. This is the answer. Like we were
This
able
is the
to.
answer. Yeah. So you're not
Yes,
thinking, or it was not a guess, right?
it was not
It
a
was not
guess.
a,
Like,
yeah, it
yeah,
was not a guess. So
yeah.
yeah, I guess just go through those rationals again and again. And just again, I used to write down all the questions I did incorrect for sure, where I had some doubt, oh, this is not correct, and go through that condition and go through my study material and have a look. What did I
Just
assumed wrong, right? Or what I missed in the question. So
mm-hmm.
I guess that's really important. And I do go through the mock exams for the therapy ed, but I guess that's not 100% correct. Or I guess those are meant for more for USA because some of the ethics questions were not really up to match.
Correct. Yeah.
So you really need to be damn sure that you are going through stuff that actually makes sense for you.
Okay. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And that's the difference, right? There are so many
Mhm.
exams out there, but you need to pick the one that's really relevant for your, like if you're doing the
Yeah, and the
PCE.
problem with the PC is like you don't have that much material available, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they only gave you one exam that they only recently posted, right? And then you actually don't have any practice exams from their side apart
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, and the only thing they have given is a long list of blueprint, which is, I don't know, makes sense because it just says, oh, these are the conditions you need to go through, right?
So if there is one thing that you want to change about CAPR in the future, what would that be?
Mhm. At least provide some more material for the students. And I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's the only they need to do more because at least a person who's going through the exam, they should know that, oh, this is more makes sense, right? I need to study this much. I don't need to be going in depth. This is just an entry level exam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I guess though that's really important. I mean, you go for any other exam in US, the states or something, they have so many materials lined up, so many I would say books that you can go through, right? But for Canadian exam, I don't, there's not enough material out there. But I guess Final Frontier has done a great job lining it up for students like me and making it concise and
Yeah.
making it really accurate that what you need to study and what you don't need to do, right? So that really helps out.
Well, we have a lot more projects coming up, so hopefully we'll be
Mhm.
able to answer some of those questions that you
Mhm.
have, like for the future students. We have a lot
Right.
more projects lined up, so hopefully this year or next year, we'll be able to launch some of those projects and stuff, and that might
Right.
help the other students, as you said. Like as
Mhm.
you said, there's not too much material out there, and hopefully we'll be able to fill up those gaps and make it easy.
Right.
Uh, but
I mean, that would
let
be
me
really, really, really helpful if you guys are up to that. That's really one thing all of us need before going for the
Yes,
test.
yes. I know. Well, we're working on it. Again, it's a big project, so we're
Mhm.
taking our time, making sure we get it right and everything.
Right.
But I remember we just had a last meeting and we talked about it. We have so a lot of things go into this project. It just starts with the idea, then we put the information, then when it goes out to the publishing and everything, it takes time. It's not that, we
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
it will be out, but hopefully by next year we'll have a lot more projects out there, so it will
Uh-huh.
be helpful to other students.
For
And
sure, I guess.
yeah. So I think one more question I have for you is like when you were preparing for PCE,
Mhm.
I know not every day is a good day. There were some days when you
Right.
would have felt on your lower part, like a moment of very uncertainty, like, oh my God, I scored less, or I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to make it up and everything. Like we all have it. It's just not you, but we all have
Right.
it. Like, yeah, I'm not going to do it and stuff. Like I scored so bad, or I didn't finish my reading. Like, what is one thing that you do? Like, what did you do? Like that, okay, it's okay. We got to start over again. Like, what's your motivation thing that you always went to?
I guess you need to be really honest with you all the time. And this is the thing Ravneet always tell in the classes. You have to be really honest with yourself. What are you doing? And you really need to sit with yourself all the time. And there, to be honest, there was not a single day I would say where I doubted myself. There was always like you woke up and you say, "Are you able to do this? Would you be able to do this?" But then you know that what the future holds for you, what the results matter for you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be honest with yourself. So here's the thing, you know where you stand, right? You know if you're ready or not. You know how much effort you're putting into this. You know how much serious you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
To have those results in future. And you know how much that results would matter to you, right? But I guess one thing that you don't know is like you are not answerable to anyone else in the world, right? You're not answerable to your parents, your friends, or anyone else in your life, right? You know how much hard work you have put in this, and once you are done with that hard work, you have given the exam, sit back and relax. I mean, you will harvest what will you sow, right? We always say.
Mhm.
And but sometimes, sometimes weather has some other plans. So
Yeah, well, of
you don't
course.
harvest, you sow something, but you don't harvest what you sow, right?
Yeah.
That's not true all the time. But for God's sakes, if those things don't work out, and maybe you need to come out with some other plans, it's okay.
Mhm.
It's not the end of the world, right? And I know people who are not PT, but still way more successful than us, right? Earning way more than a PT is earning. But I guess that's a discussion for some other time, some other day. If you guys give me another chance for that, for another interview.
Of course. Anytime, like
But
you
yeah,
let
if
me
the
know.
plans don't work out, that's okay. You don't have to be answerable to anyone else. Just be honest with you and keep keep that hard work coming.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
that's really good to know. Is there any quote or any future tip for like the students that are preparing or that will be preparing that you would like to share, like that they can use as their motivation quote, like.
The one quote I always
Mhm.
go through, and it's on my WhatsApp status as well from last, I would say, 10, 15 years. It says, more you struggle, more you learn. So keep learning.
There you go. That's really good.
Yeah,
More you struggle, the more you
more you learn.
learn.
So keep learning. Not keep
Okay.
struggling, just keep learning.
Keep learning. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good way too. And that's really good
yes.
for, like it's really helpful for the future students. So
I hope
and
so. Yeah,
it's always like, as you said, it's what you are answerable to yourself. It's your hard work,
mhm.
your effort,
That's
your
true.
money, your time. You need to decide, you need to think like what's the best for you. Like, you're not doing it for anybody else.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
for you.
yeah,
And again, if this doesn't work out, there is a second plan that,
yes.
there will
Yeah, we
be.
need to come up with another plan, right? But that's other
Yeah.
thing. Just
I
go for it
know
first.
a PT who is not practicing as a PT anymore, or
Mhm.
someone who was nowhere close to this field ended up being a PT, studying, clearing the exam, and is practicing as a PT. So,
Right.
uh, we all have goals and careers, and we can always come up with something. So,
Yeah, and then there's like lots of example for that, right?
yes.
Lots of example of it. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, that's all I have on my side. Do you have anything that you would like to add, you want to talk
I guess
about?
that's it for today. That's good
Okay.
enough.